What's up everyone, welcome back. My name is Justin and I know it's been a long time since we've had a video. We got something we're working on today. It's not the usual stuff. We're not working on the Volkswagen or anything. It's still on hold, but we got something going on. We're working on my truck today. We're getting new lift kit put on. Well, it's not a lift kit, it's gonna be the same height. The truck already has a leveling kit and then 1-inch shackles in the back, but it's all stock springs, and we're going to put THUREN 3-inch coils in the front, THUREN control arms, and then THUREN leaf packs in the back. So we started working on it. I got the control arms all laid out here. I got the Zerk fittings all put on. I'm going to fill these with grease, and then we're going to get started on working on this. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so we got the control arms all filled with grease, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. So the trick on these trucks makes it pretty easy. You don't jack the truck up or anything. Block the back wheel, put the parking brake on, leave it in gear, and you put a block on each side of the tire, and then you take both control arms off on this side. Leave that side, you take them both off this side. The wheel chocks stop the wheel from rolling forward or back, and then when you go to put the new ones in, you can put a little bit of a gap in the wheel chocks and actually pull the wheel forward and back and roll the axle forward and back to line your bolts up. And that's kind of the trick to do these. That's actually how they recommend you do it from THUREN. Their instructions say to do that. Just leave the truck on the ground, don't take the wheels off, don't jack it up. Leave them on the ground, roll the tires forward and back to line your holes up, and that's the easiest way to get them in and out. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna start tearing this thing apart right now. Alright guys, well the control arms are done. Yesterday took way longer than I thought it would. So we're gonna get the truck jacked up, get the frame up off the ground, get the frame on jack stands, take the tires off, drop the axle down so we can start doing the springs and shocks. And then once we get it up in the air, I'll show you the control arms once it's all done. It's hard to see laying under the truck. So let's get this thing up in the air and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got the front end of this thing up in the air here. And it's kind of hard to see. Let's go around to the other side. So this side's all still connected. There's the new control arms there. And these control arms have a lot more clearance in here. They don't bottom out. So I pulled the track bar out here to rebuild it. And sway bar is still connected on this side. It's not connected on the other. But as you can see, even with just one side of the sway bar disconnected, you can see how far this will droop down. So this is ready to come out, but we're gonna leave this side alone. We're gonna do the other side. And over here on the other side, I have the jack holding it up. Without the jack, this axle will actually swing all the way down to about the ground. So we're gonna start pulling this apart. The shadow is really stuck on this side. Right now it's done, so I'm gonna try and get this done really quick and then we'll film the other side. But you can see how much room you have with brake lines and stuff. So we're gonna get this out real quick and get over to the other side. Okay, so I've been trying to do some filming, but it's just not working. While I was putting this side together, the sun's been, the truck's been in the sun, so there's been some shadows. So this side's all done. See here, new control arms, new THUREN 3-inch coils, King 2.5s. The reservoir is gonna mount right up here. The sway bar is just tucked up out of the way right now, but that's where the reservoir is gonna mount. You do have to trim the liner. The liner normally comes straight across here, all the way down to here. So you gotta cut this loop and then bring that line all the way down. Just gives you a lot more room. So you do have to trim the liner there. The other side, this is the THUREN track bar, which I bought new bushings, and I'm glad I did, because this is like, it's only a couple years old and it's already kind of falling apart. Those just come out by hand and they're supposed to be pressed in, so I'm glad we're rebuilding that. We got a new Heim joint for that side too. Here's the old shocks. These are the THUREN Overland shocks. He doesn't make them anymore. They just were cheap shocks. That's what was on there. That's what we have now. And then here's the old springs. The new ones are about 4 or 5 inches taller than the old ones, which is kind of expected with how heavy those springs were, and these are a lot lighter. Here's the new ones. You can see how tall they are. This side's taken apart. I wire wheeled this, painted it, had just some surface rust in there. I didn't want any problems down the road, so we cleaned that all up and just put a quick coat of Steel-It in there. But yeah, we're getting ready to start getting this back in. I don't know how we get the shock on in this side. There's a lot of stuff up there and it's hard to get the reservoir down in, so I may try and put the reservoir through, snake it up through, hold the body up, and then put the coil on the bottom of the shock. That may just be the way it has to go. We'll see. My brother should be here shortly and he'll be able to give me a hand on this side, I think, but we'll see. We're gonna keep making progress. All right, guys, well, we finished up the front yesterday. I tried to film last night and the camera died and it was cold and late, so we called it. It's early, it's cold. Ice all over the windshield, so we're working in the ice out here this morning. But front is all done. We're starting on the rear. We got the reservoirs all mounted up right up there on both sides. Everything's had a torque wrench on it. Everything's tight. Sway bars hooked back up. That's just temporary. I'm gonna get rid of that sway bar and put the THUREN active rate sway bar on somewhat soon. At this point, the truck's back together. It's gonna stay on these 35s for right now. We'll go on this side. It's gonna stay on these 35s for right now because we test fit those 37s right there, and they fit in the back. They fit here. I might have to do a little bit trimming on the pinch weld. They fit there, but they hit way up here in the bumper. So this bumper, I was already planning on it, but this bumper is going to get replaced with the THUREN bumper, the high clearance THUREN bumper. And once that happens, these 37s are going to go on. Not this wheel. Same tire, different wheels. They're on another truck. I'm just swapping stuff around. But this setup will be going on here as soon as I get a new bumper. But for now, we're going to stick on these, drive it, enjoy it, and then we'll get that swapped. So we're going to get started on this thing. We're going to get the back up in the air. We're going to start making progress. And the goal is to have this thing done here shortly. So let's get to work. Alright guys, well the project's all done. I waited a little while to film this last, the finish up on this video. I wanted to wait till I had some miles on it. So we are out on the road for Thanksgiving. We came over to our cabin after Thanksgiving. There's a lot of snow on the ground. We got at least a foot in the yard. But the truck is all done. The truck drives great, suspension's really nice, it's a huge improvement. The rear is the biggest improvement. You don't feel the little stuff anymore. Part of that could be the 37s, part of it's suspension, but it rides night and day difference. We did end up putting the 37s on. I was gonna leave the 35s for now because the 37s don't really fit. But we were coming over here, I knew they had a bunch of snow. My 35s were worn out, I wanted to get these on. I did have to trim for them a little to get them on. The front bumper's trimmed for driving on the street. If you do any off-roading, big bumps, anything like that, it does rub, but I'm gonna get a THUREN fabrication front bumper and that'll fix that issue. So this is just temporary, just for this trip, but 37s are on. These are the same tires and wheels that were on my second gen, but the second gen's broke right now, so I snagged these. They're 37 13.5 Nittos, Method NVs with the red anodizing. And got everything all packaged up in here. Looks really nice, fits really good. And then in the rear, you can see we got leaves down there, shocks are all in there. The rears have the skid plates from CJC Off-Road. They're rear skid plates that cover the rear reservoir on the front, on the both rear shocks. So if you back into anything or hit it going down the road, up on logging road and stuff, it won't damage the reservoir. It won't ruin your $2,500 pair of shocks. So that's what those are for. Truck rides great. I'm really happy with it. But we're getting ready to leave today. We gotta head back to Wenatchee, pick up a Christmas tree, and then we're back on to Seattle tonight. But truck's running really good, rides real nice. I'm really happy with it. I don't know how the red wheels are showing up on camera, but they look really nice in person. Once I get the new THUREN bumper, we're gonna add a couple of lights up here on top of the bumper, and I'm gonna put a receiver hitch in the bumper also, so I can put my winch on. I got a winch on a cradle, that way I can run it front or back. So that's the plan on that. But that's it for this video. It's all finished up. Hopefully you watched all the way through, and hopefully you enjoyed it, learned some things. If you guys are planning on doing this install, kind of saw how I did it. The rears, you can do it on the ground, but I recommend taking the bed off. It's way easier if you take the bed off. You need at least 2 people if you're gonna do it with the bed on. It's way easier with the bed off. It's just, yeah, that'd be a lot easier. When you're doing the rear, when you get it in, don't do the front or back bolt first. Do the U-bolt first, get the center pin lined up, get the U-bolts holding that center pin, and then move the axle back or forth to get the front and back bolt on. The fronts, those are straightforward. You gotta take the track bar off, you gotta take the sway bar off, drop the axle down, pull the shock out the top, pull the spring out, and you're ready to put the new stuff in. But other than that, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.